And welcome to OpenGeology. We are here discussing about the CIL previous year questions. This is part 6 and we will see from question 51 to 60. So this belongs to a CIL exam of 2017. But before you begin, you can join our CIL Geologist test series. There are 100 plus tests. Okay, so 100 plus tests you can attempt. For other exams as well, NET, GATE, GSI, you can join our test series. Now, which are the two most common elements in the Earth's crust? So we have already discussed this type of question in the previous PYQ. So correct option is oxygen and silicon. So most abundant is oxygen and then silicon as far as the Earth's crust is concerned. Now next question is paired traces form when? What will happen to the river channel? So paired traces like this, they form when there is vertical incision is more rapid than lateral migration. So what happens is, let's say a river is flowing like this. Okay, this is the channel. So it will laterally cut the surroundings. Sometimes, let's say if it is sinus, then it will cut more in that area and it will deposit in these areas. Okay, so in the meandering channel. So that leads to an unpaired traces. One side it is higher, one side it is lower. So it is like this, not the straight lines. But what happens is the water is dropping abruptly or the very frequently, then they will not able to cut it more fastly. So it is here at T2 time period, then further incision T1. Before it cuts it goes further down. So before cutting means the lateral migration is less but the vertical incision is more. So first option will be our right answer. Another question is an effective oil source rock that can be summarized as elemental carbon content being. So the correct answer is the C. So what happens is there are different organic matters which dominate the different types like the oil or gas or the oil and gas both. So if we talk about the oil source rock, the carbon content must be between 75 to 90% and the hydrogen to carbon ratio, it must be between 0.69 and 0.84. Okay, so how these things are calculated? These things are calculated by a process known as rock-level pyrolysis. Rock-level pyrolysis. Okay, so a detailed article is already in our website, so you can simply write rock-level pyrolysis by OpenGeology and you will get a detailed article how these things are measured. Now there are different types of corrosion, type 1, 2 and 3. 1 is highly oil prone, 2 is both oil and gas and 3 is the gas prone, and different the hydrogen indexes based on that. Now another question is maximum separation of reflectance value of vegetation, soil and water. So the correct answer is infrared band. So there are different bands like the infrared band, microwave bands, blue bands, green bands. So if we talk about the vegetation, soil and water, the most important is the infrared bands. Now another calculations can be used in the remote sensing part. One of the important is NDVI, that is normalized different vegetation index. So what is this? It is a high yield exam topic, a very important exam. Like simply they can ask about the formula only or they can ask about the different values of NDVI. So what it uses the extreme difference between the absorption and the NIR reflectance, that near infrared. So this is the formula, and if the value of NDVI is +1, that means healthy vegetation. -1 means the water or snow areas, the negative values. If it is 0, then it represents a soil in nature. Another question is the spatial resolution of a passive sensor. It depends primarily on what things? So it depends on the IFOV, that it is there the field of view. Okay, so what you can learn more for the exam, you can learn about the different types of resolution. What is the spatial, spectral, radiometric and the temporal resolution. Another question is the primary difference between lithosphere and asthenosphere. that give rise to numerous divergent patterns of the physical behavior. So the most important the difference is the temperature. So lithosphere is cooler and acts as the rigid body, while asthenosphere is a semi-solid material which having the convectional currents. Okay, so the most important is the temperature. The other things like the viscosity and all, they all are dependent on temperature. So the main point we consider here is temperature. Okay. Another question is, which of the following is not linked to the formation of desert? So it is the rising air. Other all of the three are linked. Like how the descending air, sinking air is generally dry and occurs in the subtropical high pressure zones, which is warm and expands, that prevents the cloud formation and no rainfall, that means desert. The example is your Sahara desert. Then second is the distance from the ocean. So most of the rainwater comes from the ocean, and the continentality, as we go away from the ocean, the air will receive less water vapor, less evaporation, and the less rainfall will occur, and we will have a dry climate. Another thing is proximity to cold ocean currents. Now cold ocean currents cool down the air and the reducing its ability to hold moisture. So as we decrease the temperature, the water vapor content of air is also decreases. So when this happens, that means the less rainfall, and again the desert will happen. Atacama desert is one of the example of proximity to cold currents. Okay, next is a process across a non-subsurface body which fails to show an anomaly. Now let's say there is a surface and a subsurface body is there like this, but there is no anomaly. Like let's say we are measuring a gravity survey, or let's say magnetic survey. So in ideal cases it should give profile like this, so there will be an anomaly, or it will give surface like this, so this is an anomaly, but it is not showing anomaly like in simple general case. So why this is not showing anomaly? There are few reasons, like the small signal to noise ratio. So this is the signal and rest is the noise. So if the background noise, the environment or the instrumentational noise is too high relative to the generated signal, so signal is very small but noise is high, so we will not get any anomaly. Another thing is data is not been reduced. So sometimes raw field data contains the regional trends, like let's say regional gravity value is your 9.9, and the your anomaly which you are expecting is 9.90001, a slight change. So we have to reduce it to an optimal level. So the temporal variations like the tidal effect, so we have to change all of these things to get the perfect anomaly. Another is station spacing was too large. Let's say if you are using one station here, another station here, so that means the station will measure all of these areas, so the anomaly, the effect of anomaly is reduced. So it can also be one of the important cause. Another question is, the elastic plastic transformation takes place when stress exceeds a critical value. It is known as the yield stress. Okay, so let's say this is a point where the material was elastic, now it is behaving like the plastic, or you can say this point elastic plastic. So this point, this is known as your yield stress. Another question is, which type of magma has the greatest iron and magnesium content? So you know different types of magma: felsic, intermediate, mafic, ultramafic. So felsic have the silica, it is light colored and lower in density, while the intermediate one have comparatively less silica and dominance of the feldspar and the felsic minerals. It is a little bit dense than the felsic magma. Then you have mafic and ultramafic. So mafic will have the further decrease in the silica content, and the iron and magnesium is a little bit present in the rocks. It has the higher density. If we increase more iron and magnesium and further reduction of silica, it will become ultramafic rocks. So ultramafics will have the least amount of silica and the highest amount of iron and magnesium. Okay, so it's all about for today. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, you can join our CIL test series. So there are 100 plus tests covering all branches like the general awareness, English, aptitude, reasoning. Okay, and also the 11 full length tests are there. So a lot of things are there. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next part.